What's up, YouTube? It's Mr. Mathematics. We are back. I'm glad to be in the house of the YouTubes. I got my main man, ThiccBoi Reviews in the house. What's happening, brother?
Hello, what's going on, guys?
Yep.
You're
Yeah. All right. We're back. It's Lovecraft Country Live Review, Season 1, Episode 9, Rewind 1921. And that was a great episode. I'm pretty excited to get into this. Do you have Thick Boy? You got anything you want to open up with? What you thinking, man?
um, nah, man, it was good.
Yeah,
Hippolyta is legit. If you
yeah,
guys haven't seen it, she is. I knew she was gonna have something going on with her, and I was just hoping that she was gonna have a better role. And after the episode, I kind of knew it was gonna be big time.
yeah,
Yeah, she cold.
yeah,
she cold.
yeah. She came back a changed woman. So
Yeah,
the first thing that I thought was pretty funny of this episode is it kind of opens up. I think they're basically like sitting over Dee's sick bed, and I thought it was funny. Ruby yells at everybody. They're kind of fussing over D, and they're like, stop pointing fingers. She said it's everybody's fault, which is normally it's nobody's fault.
yeah,
But she's like, no, it's all y'all fault right here. I thought that
yeah.
was a pretty funny little
That
little
was
moment there.
crazy. That was. Yeah, and what was really unfortunate is we kind of got a continuation of D and what happened with her.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so we soon saw that D was terribly affected by the top 10 Bobsey twins.
Oh man.
So just to kind of paint that picture that Mr. Mathematics just mentioned, D is laying on the bed. Everyone's around her, which includes Ruby, Lady, Tick, and Montrose, and she is sick. Like she is in bad shape, and they zoom in on her hand, and her hand is literally like it's decaying. It's necrotic.
Yeah.
So it's turning bad. And the disturbing part about it is she's like turning into one of the Bopsy monsters. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was crazy. But I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that I mean, I just her arm was so disgusting to me. That was that was so nasty. And yeah, I mean, I guess it was momentary that yeah, she was kind of turning into one of those Bopsy monsters, but yeah, so it looks like, and then we have Ruby decides that she's going to use, because they need help, right? They don't
Yeah.
have any way to fix this. Ruby decides that she's going to use her connection with Christina to save D, which was a first good use of some Christina Braithwaite connections there.
Hmm.
And yeah, so Christina uses the fact that everybody needs her to save D now as an opportunity to force Tick to volunteer for this event that is sort of coming up soon now. This autumn equinox, I guess,
Yep.
some kind of ceremony. Do you know what she's planning on doing?
The autumn equinox, I believe, is the it's basically the time frame. Is the thing that she has to do with Tick. So
Yeah,
that's her moment where she becomes immortal
right.
or
Yeah,
immortal.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's right.
So
Yeah,
so she needs. That's basically what they are trying. She's trying to prepare for is that autumn equinox
yeah,
to drain Tick's life force because she need all the Tick's blood, not just like an ounce. She needs
yeah. That's kind of a
everything.
problem there. Yeah,
Yeah, so she needs everything to become immortal, and that's why she needs the book of names of the book of Titus also.
yeah.
So
In the last episode, so I remember when I kind of realized that she's planning this, this attempt at becoming immortal, and I was kind of thinking that what she really needs is the I forget what they call it now. Is it like a time and space machine? They have a name for it now. They've been calling it something, but
yeah, I can't remember you talking about that space machine that
yeah,
Hippolyta
yeah.
run. Yeah,
They had a good name for it, but I think that would be more fitting to what Christina Braithwaite is sort of looking for, because yeah, I mean, from sci-fi and horror history,
hmm,
immortality. You always see like vampires are immortal and they're sort of become bored with life and all that. It's like, okay, you live forever, but the joy and the passion of life is sort of like missing, and when time is not a factor and there's no sense of like I can or can't have something.
Hmm.
I almost think that the time machine, or that time and space machine that lets you live, like an entire lifetime, different lifetimes, seems a little bit more like maybe it would be more satisfying to her, because she kind of at one point gives a speech about wanting to taste all of life, and it's like I don't
Yeah.
know if being immortal alone will accomplish that. But yeah, so another thing that was pretty crazy to me. What do you think about the police chief? His body. I mean,
Yo.
yeah, we kind of get to this point where we find the police chief is what is he? Do you think is he injured from the fight with the Shogun last episode? Is that what
I'll guarantee that.
yeah.
Cause all right, so we if we return back to D
Mhm.
and her basically dying on the bed. So one of the main reasons why, because that she's dying, is they don't have the spells to do that. Because technically, the spell has to be broken or has to be turned off from the person that gave the spell.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was Captain. It was that Captain
Yeah.
that gave her the spell. But that Captain was basically killed. He was killed. He was tossed across. You remember we talked the last
Yeah.
episode? He was tossed across a tree like ET.
Yeah.
Well, that basically was him dying. So if we fast forward to this now conversation, he was in a closet,
Mhm.
and you remember how I said like a couple episodes ago, I said, man, his body is black.
Mhm.
It makes sense. What he does to protect or to heal himself is he gets black people off the streets,
Mhm.
kills them, and then repurpose their parts for him.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, he was so heavily damaged that every time that he tried to put another body part on him to like I guess
Mhm.
heal himself, you saw there's like a scene his like the body parts would either like bust open.
Yeah. It was like getting the wound. The wound was returning. Yeah.
Yeah, so the wound was coming back. So I'm thinking, um, he just basically being on repair. So
Yeah.
that's when Christina came in as William and kind of gave him the spell like, I would enjoy to see you die 1,000 times,
Mhm.
being immortal basically. But I would live with just seeing you die once.
Yeah. She mentions, or she comes in as William, right? And he kind of says
Yeah.
that almost like every time that she does that transformation, if it's like you experience the death, like William experiences death again,
Yeah.
which was interesting, and I guess it kind of does connect with some of the things that we heard Ruby say about transforming, and that was not transforming. That was felt like dying, or coming out of,
Yeah.
yeah, sort of. They describe it really weird, but yeah, man, the police chief's little spare black body system was is pretty
That's pretty
interesting,
messed
pretty
up.
gross. Yeah, that was but it was fun to see what they had him what he had going on, and
Yeah. And it's also crazy to see how vulnerable he was.
yeah.
When you think about the captain this whole time has been like, you know, unstoppable.
Mhm.
I do what I want to do. You listen to me, but this time he's literally in the corner and I guess was I guess their spell closet because it
Yeah.
looks like they had like scriptures on the side of the door. So he's sitting there and he's truly in pain because his body is breaking down in front of him, and he basically pleads, like, Christina, please
Yeah.
help me this time, save me. And Christina's like, nope, I just want to see you die. And I'm like, dang. But that show you the callous of
Christina.
Christina
Yeah.
Braithwaite. You
Yeah,
know,
and I also I guess it was also, I was thinking about it because I can't remember at that point, does she know that we need the captain to release that spell?
I believe so. I believe that I don't I think she knows that the captain needs to be is needed for that spell, but I think she also knows that she's the one excuse me, she's the one that's been working towards that spell herself.
Hmm.
You gotta understand, like all the stuff that they're doing, she's been doing it but in the shadows. So like even with her dad, she worked on the
Vulnerabilities.
the mark of Cain,
Hmm.
right? So her dad had the mark of Cain, but obviously he wasn't immortal because he died during
Well,
the
he took
thing
yeah
on the
he took it off to do the ceremony with Tick.
exactly. So he turned it off to do the thing with Tick. So she saw that, she used that, made it better for her and Letty. And then
Hmm.
the same thing for this with the captain. So I'm thinking she's learning how to do these things in the shadows
Yeah.
to the point where she's using it as leverage. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm wondering if she, yeah, like you said, is she did she choose to let the captain die so that she could be the person that has the power over D, or was it sort of just like the captain was already dead, so or he was just like he wasn't gonna be able. I mean, the condition he was in, he wasn't about to lift no curses off of anybody. He was basically done.
I want to say it was both. I
Yeah.
think he was basically well past done, and I think on top of that too, she used it as a leverage.
Hmm.
So she's like, hey, if I know how to do the spell, which I do, there's no use for you, Captain. And on top of that, he's a problem anyway because he's also got his own agenda,
Yeah, he's
and
dangerous.
yeah, and he's trying to rule the world too. So she's like, that's one less sucker in my way,
Hmm.
basically. So it all panned out.
Yeah, so I want to say that they eventually figure out that they're gonna have to solve this problem themselves, and
Yeah,
I know that at some point, I guess this is another interesting moment to me is when Montross finds the I don't know if he finds it or he knows it's there, but he basically starts drinking again. He's drinking some of George's, looks like it's his homemade moonshine, and I guess we kind of knew this the whole time. Is not surprising, but that Montross is basically sort of drowning out, trying to quiet his demons with his drinking.
yeah. That's basically what he's doing. He uses drinking to go through everything that Montrose is going through.
Hmm.
So I mean, but that's what alcohol can do for some people, man. It's
Yeah,
it's it's a coping mechanism for day to day life
yeah.
for some.
I heard something a long time ago that they say that people don't usually dream when they're drunk. And I kind of put that together, and I was like, oh, because you see the movies and different depictions of people that are like, you go off to war, like you come back from Vietnam, and you come back and you end up being an alcoholic or something like that, and a person that has a lot of things on their mind like that, you're haunted in your sleep or nightmares of death, war, and killing people. I could see how that would work.
Yeah,
But
yes. So it's a cruel thing out there, man, for
yeah.
sure. But one thing that was definitely crazy cause one thing I don't want us to forget about is
Hmm.
D, because D is still not okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Christina Braithwaite, she is able to slow the process, but they can't stop the process.
Right.
That was the trick. That was the I guess conundrum. Like she can stop it, but technically the only person that can release the curse is the captain, and
Yeah,
he's
that's
no
what was
longer
my
there.
frustration. Yeah, it's like, dude, y'all let I mean, the captain's dead. I mean, we gotta. I really, of D is one of the people that I really feel like deserves to be saved. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. But yeah,
You
and
know what
that
I'm saying?
that scene had a bit of an exorcism vibe to it
Yeah.
as well.
Nah, it was it
On the
was
low,
it was
yeah.
different. It was definitely kind of creepy. I ain't gonna lie, cause when she started to turn, you saw the little bangs in her head and stuff. I was like, oh, chill, chill. I don't do those kind of movies, um, but yeah, let's talk about Hippolyta, man.
Yep.
She came in like a G. She basically came in saying, all right, everybody, shut up.
Hmm.
You know,
She's like
stop
reborn.
complaining. Yeah, she came out. She came out reborn. She walks in because like the main thing I think they said something along the lines of, that she needed to have her like
Blood relative.
closest
Yeah.
blood relative to her, and it was like, well, Hippolyta's gone,
Yep.
Mr. George, I'm sorry, George Freeman is gone too. So Montrose, you're the closest, and Montrose was like, well, shoot,
Yeah. And
um,
he reveals that he tells Tick that he may not be his father.
oh
Tick goes
yeah.
off on that one.
Yeah, that's it. I thought we was gonna say that for down the line, but yep, Tick finds out, that Montrose may not be his daddy, but you get more of that in the when they went
Right.
into
Yeah.
into time. But yeah, Hippolyta goes. She basically tells him, "Hey, let's go back in time and
Yeah.
to basically reverse it. I guess is that the reason why they went to 1921?
I think they went back to they. I think they're basically their idea is that the only thing that can save D now is the book of spells, or
That's what it is.
the book of names.
The
Yeah.
book of
So
names.
they go back to get it before it burns in the fire, or
That's what it
that's
was.
where they think they lost it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
So
point.
yeah.
Well, good point. That's what it was. So they go back into 1921 to get the actual physical book of names.
Hmm.
So could they figure, like you just mentioned, that they'd be able to use that to completely remove the spell from D.
Yeah.
Um, so now, well, we're at that point, right? Where we're at the. I found the name of it. It's called the multiverse machine.
Hmm. That sounds about right.
Yeah. So now we're at the multiverse machine,
Yeah. Hippolyta's
and
fixing it up, man. She's
yo,
a
she cold,
mechanic.
man.
Yeah, yeah. She's all of a sudden she that confidence and
Yo, it just felt good,
I thought it
man.
was it cracked me up a little that she she's got Tick braiding the wires. She told him to do a French braid, which was
Yeah,
funny.
she was mad too. She's like,
Yeah,
I asked you to put these hair in a French braid. He was like, oh,
do it like a French
like,
braid, like I told you.
yeah, like I told you, like it is crazy because like you think the situation, like Tick is freaking out because he don't know what's going on,
Hmm.
and like in the back of her head, she's worrying about all this stuff, and she is still worrying about that stinking French braid in Dee's head,
Yeah,
and I'm like, dude, we're talking about universal time travel, and you worrying about these French braid? I'm like, dang,
and
dude.
I think she I kind of feel like she knows the future. It's almost like I don't know. I mean, maybe I couldn't tell if she's like reborn and just confident in what she's doing, but part of me also feels like I guess because Tick now knows some of the future that
Mhm.
she knows how things are going to turn out. But what do you
Well,
think about that little the motherboard line that they once they fix the machine up, they're like, oh, to control where we go, we need a motherboard. They're like, what's a motherboard?
yeah, I thought that was dope too. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like, I'm the motherboard. I'm gonna jump into the system.
yeah.
So you guys heard it first. Hippolyta was the very first motherboard.
There you go.
Just in case you didn't know. But yeah, that I thought that was a pretty cool statement too. When it's like, what's a motherboard? And she's like, I'm just gonna jump in there. And I'm gonna become the motherboard. And I thought that was pretty dope. But to go back to what you mentioned, Mr. Mathematics, she did say that she was currently on the Earth of 504. Earth
Hmm.
504, and she was there for a total of 200, I think it's like 200 years Earth time.
Yeah, it was a long time. I remember. Yeah,
Yeah, so I can see how she came back so confident because
she's
if she was there for 200 Earth years,
yeah. That's a lot of growth. That's like
you know
three
what I'm saying?
lifetimes. Yeah.
Exactly. So she came back a G because she's seen everything within a short time frame.
Hmm.
So that's probably where she got so much of the confidence and she knows what to do. Um, so I think that kind of go back to what you mentioned earlier. But
Yeah. So everybody hits the little bunny hops into the time portal there,
yeah,
and so Montross arrives in 1921 Tulsa, and he's they all get there, but he's sort of in a haze the whole time. He's hesitant to go through the portal in the first
yeah,
place,
yeah,
and almost the majority of the time he's there, he's like moving slow. He's in shock, kind of. I can see that he's having like flashbacks of previous trauma, and but on the low, also Tick realizes that he's drunk. He's been drinking that moonshine.
yeah. That good juice. That's what they
Yeah,
call
and
it.
he is not reliable
Mhm.
in the past now.
Yeah. So he's faded, guys. He's faded throughout this whole uh, ordeal. So when
Hmm.
they jump back in 1921, he's lit. Like he's completely just drunk off that moonshine.
Yeah,
So
it's
it
it's
was,
it's almost like a functioning alcoholic though, because he's not
yeah,
like falling over and everything, but he's also not sharp, and T gives him a
correct.
shove, and he notices that he's drunk, and he Tick just Tick's anger at Montross is like finally boiling over. You know, it's like all of the lies that Montross has told him, all of Montross's different shortcomings, and Tick goes off on him and basically tells him, "After this, we're done, man." I just,
Yeah, that's he. I mean, but can you blame him though? You know, because like, yeah, if everybody's been paying attention to my rants on
mm-hmm,
this these reviews, everyone knows I don't like Montrose.
yeah,
I can't stand the man because it's like he does everything in his power to do things to negate Tick's progress. But you saw in this episode, it wasn't just to stop Tick. It's because he's fighting his own demons that also are leading up to this point. You know,
yeah,
so it was just kind of he was. I hate to say it, but I kind of felt for Montrose in
mm-hmm,
this episode. Cause you see what made him as a man. You know
yeah.
what made him get to this point, and yeah, this is a first for ThiccBoi, but I I actually was feeling for I was feeling for Montrose
Mm.
during this, and I was like, I think I'm gonna turn it off because this ain't right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure. As soon as you get to Tulsa, it doesn't take long.
Yeah,
The emotions definitely started like flowing for me. I mean, like you said, I know you were mentioning earlier. There's a lot of history there,
bunch.
and then there's so many. Like, I guess the overarching um, thought to me is just how time travel sort of creates this situation where um, you have to make some very difficult choices and sacrifices. The things that they had to walk away from, that they wanted to do but they couldn't do. Knowing that there's going to be the Tulsa massacre is going to happen, and
Yep.
who they can save and all that. I mean, there's just so many situations where I, I felt something, and like you said,
Yeah.
with Montross and watching all the things he went through as a kid, and did you notice that Montross's father is a alcoholic as well,
Yep. Yep.
or
He
he's at
is.
least drunk when he was beating him outside. Yeah,
I know that dude. I like that
that
actor.
actor's a good guy, right? Yeah, I just saw him
Yeah.
in another movie.
He played the bad guy in that Netflix movie, a Netflix TV show, Luke Cage.
Okay,
He played
okay,
like the Jamaican like kingpin or
yeah,
whatever, and he was amazing in that TV show.
yeah. And
But
I just saw him in I think it's called Charm City Kings, which is the biker movie with the Philly rapper Meek Mills
Meek
and
Mill, oh, I need to
some
see
new
that.
kid. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I was happy with that. I mean, I know this is a different show, but
Yeah, we might be reviewing that later on down
yeah,
the line, guys. So be on the lookout for that.
yeah, man.
Um,
Well, I wanted to
yeah,
comment on the fact that see, people be trying to say that I attribute I make assumptions about Letty, but she was back to hot wiring cars again, as y'all saw.
yeah, she was cold. She was
Yeah,
quick. Yeah, she knew what she was doing. For sure. So I mean, it definitely 1921. Man, they we they jump into it and you see the present day. They're all dancing, not dancing, but the old Model T cars are driving and all that. They got that old that old 1921 music.
yeah,
Um, and then you just see a normal life, right? You see the kids are getting ready for like a dance or a
yeah,
prom or something, and then you see it was blissful. It looked beautiful out there, beautiful skies and stuff. And then next thing you know, you hear that the party was canceled and everyone is been told to stay in their house.
yeah.
Um,
So
and
that impending doom of the massacre is like slowly unfolding step by step.
yeah, and I think that was the compelling part of this episode is you got to see the dynamic changes of what was going on, not
Hmm.
only through the episode itself, but also through Montrose's eyes, because he's reliving
Yeah,
everything that's happening right now.
yeah. I mean, once they started showing the things that happened, I could more empathize with his hesitation. I mean,
Yeah,
they definitely sold that throughout the episode that Montross had no desire to go back to 1921,
none. He
and
didn't. He wanted no part of it.
understandably so, man.
Yeah, he had wanted no part of that. I mean, even seeing the part where he was getting beat on the grass, like we mentioned earlier, by his pops. You got him coming out, and then that's when not George, Tick saw his mom,
Yeah.
young mom, come
Yep.
out, and that's when his daddy come out and say, "Hey man, you can do what you do with your son, but don't you try to do that with my daughter."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's when you find out that it was that thing between George, they had George Tick, and then
It's
Montrose's friend,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, you had that, and then they go into this is when it starts to get dark, guys. So you get into that part of the alley, and Montrose is trying to save that dude because he knows it's about to happen, but Tig is like, no, you can't because you don't want to change nothing in the future.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's gonna do. Um,
Yep. So yeah, Montross is he ends up walking over to a spot where he knows his friend's
yeah,
gonna get killed,
yeah.
and Tick seems to have to stop him from wanting to save. And that's yeah, exactly like you said. I mean, imagine knowing that one of your friends is gonna die, and you have to choose to let it happen this time after you've already experienced it one. And,
Yeah.
and and I guess what stood out to me also was just that the some of the brutality that was happening during the massacre. It really made me want. I mean, I knew about the massacre. I've had friends like do we've reviewed it and discussed it and all that, but like it still felt like, man, is this real? Like it just because in 2020, 100 years ago, really, is this hard to imagine that a scenario can unfold where people are being killed in the middle of the street with no, just no repercussions. That was complete mayhem, and I mean, it was the purge
See,
level of brutality.
and what was sad for me, man, is I didn't know about it. I didn't know about the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. You know what I'm saying? And when I started to do research on it, and just for people, just in case if you don't know about that, so the 1921 Race Massacre took place between May 31st and June 1st of 1921. So it was basically just a mob of white residents, most of them deputized and basically given weapons by the city officials to basically attack black businesses um, and residents on the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the Greenwood district is basically the district where all the prominent, successful black people live. This is where the doctors, surgeons, financial managers, all the people that have any prominence, they lived on this Greenwood district. Um, so I guess the people, white American people, decided that was not the thing to do, and they had what you call now the Tulsa Race Massacre. And I mean, you're looking at what was it? It was like 800 plus people died. I mean, were injured during this massacre, and like 36 died. They said, and it was just it was a terrible time in history, and to have that shown in this episode in the manner that they did was very eye opening.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, and in the show, at least, they basically burned the whole town down,
Yep,
and this comes up twice because they cover the same massacre in the Watchmen
my
series on
boy.
HBO as
Yep,
well. Yeah, so
that's what I was gonna say earlier.
it's been coming up a lot, man.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like just to go back to that, just because we're not reviewing Watchmen, but they did discuss the massacre in that episode. I mean that TV show too. But what's crazy was in the Watchmen, it was like one of the later days
Hmm.
of the massacre. While in this episode, this is the moment before it broke
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
which is kind of cool. That and they're both HBO
yeah,
conglomerates, I guess. So that's kind
yeah.
of cool. But
And it's
yeah,
scary. It's
it's
scary too because,
yeah,
like you said, they start off the day, any normal day, not knowing that, you know, 5 hours from now, people are gonna be roaming the streets with guns, killing anyone they see, burning houses down. You could be burned alive, lynched, shot. I mean, that was crazy, man.
it was a lot going on, man.
So in that massacre, we know, like, according to the show, that Tick's mother, his whole mother side of the family is gonna die, and turns out, that lady basically gets kind of caught up with them. So she's in the
Yeah.
house with them. She convinces Tick's. I mean, I don't know if that would be his grandmother or great
I don't know.
grandmother.
She was old and she looked
Yeah,
scary. It's
yeah,
probably her great grandma.
yeah. I think it was great grandmother there that gave him. Yeah, because Tick's mom. I don't know, but she gave Tick the. She gave Letty the the book of names, so she gets it, and then the house, starts to burn down, just like it was, just what like we know it would in the future. And Letty is protected by her invulnerability spell. It looks like she can protect the book as well. I was wondering what they were going to do to keep that
Yeah.
book from burning, but
What? Because the vulnerability spell is not a protection on her, but it's a bubble. It's a
yes,
bubble, an area of protection, AOE.
yeah,
So that's for the gamers out there that listen. AOE. Um, but it's a protection spell, a protection bubble. So
yeah,
the book was close to her, so she was fine. But the cool thing about it though is that granny she was caught up on game, and what I mean
yeah,
by that is she knew that Letty wasn't supposed to be there.
yeah. She saw Letty's tennis shoes, and
She
she's
saw
like,
them shoes, and
yeah,
she was like, "Let me point this revolver on you because you don't look right."
yeah,
Um, but also too, what we didn't mention is the reason why that happened, because you know how even back in the future, you never supposed to like get in with the past because you can mess up the future or whatever.
hmm,
But Letty was actually chased during like she was chased by a group of like a mob, and
yep,
then she got shot, and that's when she got saved by Montrose's dad, I think.
yes.
Or was it the
Yeah,
mom's?
no,
It
it
was
was
probably the mom's
Montross's.
dad.
Yeah, it was Montross and George's father came out with a shotgun to
There
protect
you
her,
go.
and so she falls in the house with them,
Yeah,
to be protected from that mob that was chasing her, and she hit it. She showed off a little bit more of the track form, of
yeah. She was
course.
close. She had her hands pointed up. I
Yeah.
mean, she must runs like a 4.3 or 4.4. She has to. But yeah. So we saw that, and then that's when we get to the point where he mentioned now where it burns down.
Yeah.
But the disturbing part though is the grandma had to fight her fate basically.
Yeah.
So she had to sit there, and because they was like, oh, oh, mama or grandma, come down, they're coming in and breaking in, you gotta help us. And then lady's like, no, I need you here,
Hmm.
and I need you here, and this is your fate. Basically, you're going to die in this house. And that was the toughest part for me because the grandma had to understand that she was going to die. So she said, "Can you say a prayer with me?"
Hmm.
So they say their prayer and they're holding hands, and while that's happening, the whole house is engulfed in flames. Um, and that's when we get that beautiful poem by it's called Catch a Fire,
Mm.
by I can't remember her first, Sonia Sanchez.
Okay.
It was a poem that it's a poem that she wrote to, I believe, Oprah, and it's called Catch the Fire, or Catch the Fire, or Catch a Fire, and they're singing that in the background while she's burning, and it was just such a powerful scene because then you see how Lady is not affected, but she sees this woman, burning up and like starts screaming in agony, and I'm
Hmm.
like, golly, whew, it was a lot, man, to see that scene.
Yeah. Catch the Fire by Sonia Sanchez.
There you go,
Yeah, that
there
was
you go.
crazy how they showed the great grandmother burn. They worked hard on those special effects, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they put the sound out because I didn't want to listen to her scream. But it was, yeah,
Oh
it
God,
was a
I didn't want to hear that
nice,
roasted meat sound. Nah, I
yeah,
didn't want to
that
hear none of
nice
that.
poetic touch of the poem
Yeah,
covering that. So that was pretty cool.
it was amazing, man. And,
Yeah.
and, and but they've been consistent with that this whole season. Like just to have the idea to put a poem like that in this particular moment,
Hmm.
and then with the name being basically following what's going on, to catch the fire,
Yeah.
and it just man, this episode is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting close to the end, guys. But one thing I think we should do, Mr. Mathematics,
What's
is
up?
we should go back to the street with Tick and Montrose.
Okay.
So so basically we find that, like you mentioned, we mentioned earlier in the call, I mean in the combo, um Montrose is sitting there, he sees himself, he sees his friend. But one thing I think is, I don't think that was Montrose's friend. I think that was Montrose's lover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that
definitely.
was his boyfriend.
Yeah,
But then that's when you saw him recite the things he told the man, of the young man,
yeah,
saying, "Hey, I don't want to be with you because you are, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
So basically, he says that, and then while he's doing that, he's breaking down inside because he's reliving this and saying it. And then on top of that, this is when he tells Tick, "This is the things I did to be your father.
all the sacrifices I made. Yeah,
All the sacrifices I made. This is my transgressions I had to go through. I had to suppress my sexuality to be a man for my son. You
hmm,
know, so that was a powerful scene to see Montrose basically break that down like that
yeah,
and kind of tell Tick, like, and Tick felt it. Tick was
right,
like, "Dang,
yeah. It was
I didn't
sort of
even think of that."
yeah, sort of allowed them to bridge that gap and heal that
Correct.
wound because there had been so much, like the fact that Montross had hid his sexuality from Tick, and then
Yep.
all the time, once he started finding out about who he may or may not be the father and the infidelity, and it's just like a lot of things I guess that are hard to handle, hearing coming from the people that you think about as your parents,
Yep.
and yeah, so but they did kind of like pull it together,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, it really leads up to a great, nice like tie-in connection. It's almost like a closed time loop. They almost like they closed the time loop here, because leading up to this, we have been hearing stories from Montross and Uncle George about, and Tick had been hearing this stories growing up his whole life, that during the Tulsa riots, the reason that they didn't die is because a mysterious stranger showed up with a baseball bat and he was swinging it like Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, that was cool.
And they even, they, which explains Tick's dream in episode one. He has that dream about Jackie Robinson saving him from one
It's
of
like
the
aliens
Lovecraft's
or something.
monsters. Yeah,
Yeah, that's when they said, "I got you, kid."
I
Yeah, I
got you,
remember that.
kid. Yeah, so they kind of, they kind of revisit that because they're watching Montross in danger, and then Uncle George shows up just like we knew he would,
Yeah.
because we know the future, and so they're getting attacked by a mob of killer white men, and you sort of worried. Well, they're kind of, we're all waiting for the mysterious stranger with the baseball bat to show up, and Tick takes a step or two forward, and he accidentally kicks that baseball bat, and you realize that
Yeah, he's
Tick
the stranger.
that Tick is the mysterious stranger. I love that. I just love that
I thought
connection.
that was so freaking amazing, and I want to. It was kind of like Thor, you know what I mean? I'm a Marvel fan, right?
Mm,
So it's kind of like Thor, just seeing the Mjolnir in front of him, and he just picks up his hammer and just about to go to work.
yeah,
That's what it felt like. He saw that bat and he realized this is his fate. Like,
yeah,
you are the mysterious stranger.
yeah,
And Montrose is like, "It was you. You
yeah.
the one that saved us."
Yeah,
And
and it creates that dynamic where it's like it had always been this way, like it's this loop that Montross's son comes back from the future to save Montross.
crazy, huh?
It's
That's that
amazing, yeah,
the way they did this, and that's why I said this is probably the coldest episode they
yeah,
have made this entire season, and I can't wait for the season. I don't know if it's like the season finale
yeah,
or what, but I can't wait for this last episode, man, because
yeah. I'm
they
wondering if they're gonna do like two parts or something because there's a lot to finish up. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it after this. Like you said, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
no, you good. Now I hope it's a mid-season, man. I hope it's a mid-season finale. I hope they, like, just give us on a cliffhanger, let us wait for 3 months, and then bring it back. Um, because yeah, I think, like you said, there's no way they're gonna fit this unless the season finale is gonna be like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might do a two-parter.
Yeah, Possibly, man. But all I gotta say is they excellent work on this episode. But so we find out that the I Got You kid is actually Tech,
Hmm.
and like Mr. Mathematics was mentioning, he pretty much just went Barry Bonds, or in this case Jackie Robinson, on everyone. Took them all out, saved the boys, and saying that was that his mom he was saved.
I think it was. Yeah, his mom was out there looking. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was helping him look.
yeah. So saved his mom, saved the group of kids. I believe was Uncle George Montrose and his mom. So they do that. Um, so then I guess what happened was they fast forward to the point where now we go to the catch the fire scene that we
Hmm.
mentioned, and then Tick jumps into the portal, and dang, Tick jumps into the portal, and you see Hippolyta is like jacked up. She's like holding on for dear
Struggling to
life.
keep it open. Yeah,
Yeah, like the motherboard is getting fried. She literally is frying right now.
yeah.
And she's like, I'm trying to hold on. I can't hold on any longer. And Tig is like, you got to. Lady's not here yet. And then that's when we see Montrose, and Montrose gets a top down view
Hmm.
of the entire destroyed city.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is this is a recap of what we saw from the first scene in the episode. So we saw a top down view of the city, of the street with the cars and everything beautiful. And then we get to the end of the episode now through Montrose's
Burning.
eyes, and it's burning, a building's on fire, people running for their life, getting beat up and killed. So it was a stark transition.
Yeah,
You know what
that
I'm
was a
saying?
good point. I kind of didn't think about that until now that we were seeing that we saw the city alive, and then we saw it burning. And coming down the street, Montrose sees Letty
Yeah.
in all her invulnerability swag,
Cold.
walking through the fire, carrying that book. And
Yeah.
me and Doctor Doom were sort of struggling because although it's nice and powerful that Letty's walking slow, it's like we know that
Why she not
the
running?
motherboard is frying, and
Yeah.
we need Letty moving faster than
Yeah.
that. So it's sort of
Can,
this.
can you use that 4-3 speed a
Yeah, I
little
need
bit?
to turn on the burners a little bit
You know what I'm
here.
saying? Yeah, that was cool, man.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know if I'm tripping, but did I see like an airplane drop a bomb on her,
Yeah,
or
I
two
mean
bombs?
that's another part. I mean, that was another part of it. I want to say that uh, the during that Tulsa massacre, some of the the people that were participating in doing the killing and doing the attacking and destroying of the city, um, they were people who had like fought in war before. I couldn't tell you what war happened at that before that time, but
Hmm.
they had like weapons of war. You go to war, you come back, you bring your rifle with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And people had like experience flying planes and all that kind of stuff. So they used everything at their disposal to destroy that town. That was crazy and just really unfair. So you'd have to think of the level of disadvantage that those people were at when they killed them. But
what's crazy though is I looked it up while you was talking,
hmm.
Mr. Mathematics, and I see that they even had the U.S. National Guard in it.
Hmm.
Wow, that's crazy to have that much power, or have that much
Wielded against civilians.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's insane. But yeah, man, Tick, not Tick, but Lady, Lady's walking there in slow motion, and then and the only thing I can think of was Alicia Keys' "This Girl Is on Fire" song.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it was playing in my head.
yeah,
But yeah, she walks, and I guess I thought she was gonna make it, because I mean the way that Hippolyta was cooking,
yeah,
because Hippolyta, like, she got so fried that she started to float to the sky.
yeah.
You know,
They definitely set it up. Yeah, because at one point the portal closed, and I was like, okay, I guess everybody's gonna be. Some people are gonna be stuck here.
yeah,
But yeah, she gets it back open. Letty finally makes it up there, and
under through it.
her and Montrose jump through. And
Yeah.
so now they've got the book of names, and we are all set up for a very eventful season finale here. I'm looking
Yep.
forward to it, man. It's gonna be good. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do when this show is over. I've been living off of Lovecraft Country for a while. Th-
We'll figure it out.
yeah.
That's the joy of YouTube, man.
One thing I know
You
I'm
can
gonna start
it's
doing is
one day.
playing some Among Us. By the way,
Oh yeah, definitely, guys. Be on the lookout for that. Thick Boy and Mr. Mathematics going to be trying out that new game or new game, I
new
guess.
to us game. Yeah,
New to there you go, new
it's
to
been out
us
for like
game.
2 years apparently.
Yeah, Among Us. So you definitely have some content. You know, Thick Boy always comes with the jokes, so be ready for a laugh. But one thing that was also too that I want to mention that we didn't go over there is Hippolyta. One thing she when she got pulled off of the machine, she had snot on her nose and throw up out of her mouth and stuff because she was jacked up. But her hair turned purple or
Blue,
blue,
yeah, yeah.
and like
Hippolyta's got blue hair.
yeah, now she has like blue hair and yeah. So we got that's basically what the end of that episode was, guys. So it was amazing. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, amazing, amazing episode. It's been a great ride so far. I'm looking forward to see how they wrap it up. And I mean, it almost the acting is so good. There's so many good, so much talent in the show that like just can't imagine it not being satisfying because they sell the scenes and they sell the emotions so well. So
It's
yeah,
true.
I'm happy, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for listening. As usual, Thick Boy, you gonna hit us with your outro?
Yeah. So once again, thank you guys for taking some time to listen to our live stream. Please take some time to like and subscribe both our channels. The wonderful, excellent Mr. Mathematics channel where he has awesome content and he usually make content. I believe what every week, right?
Yeah, about once a week.
Once a week. So definitely be on the lookout for some of his future content and like and subscribe. And also check out my channel, ThiccBoi Reviews, where I do reviews on basically everything. Reviews on food, trailers, movies, you name it. Definitely with your guys' help, we'll be able to control the world and take over the internet. So thank you for what you've done and for watching this, listening to this live stream. And as always, ThiccBoi out. Peace.
All right, thank y'all. Bye.